Okay, I'm going to try to distribute who I ask to speak first. But if you hear a question and you want to speak first, fine. I'm not sure what's the advantage to answer first or answer last. But this first question for mayoral candidates: how will you ensure that Shady Shores keeps its semi-rural feel and that it doesn't become another Plano? Sure.
Well, again, I believe the demographics of Shady Shores will never change. I believe that the reason you're living here and I'm living here is because we basically enjoy a rural climate. Whatever might come forward would have to be in a sense of progression for you and you living here in addition to the town's revenue and so forth. And that I would be obligated as mayor to present a particular aspect of that to the council for them to deliberate on. So I don't want to come forward to you right tonight and say, but I would never see a change as far as urbanization to Shady Shores, because it may be necessary at some point in time, but I'd say that's less than 1%.
Okay. Dan?
Well, I personally don't want to see us become a big city like Plano, a high tax rate. I'm afraid that if we have a part-time mayor, that our taxes will start going up, creeping up and up and up, and where we will critical decisions won't be analyzed well, they'll be made in haste. It's going to be difficult to keep this city small. I don't think there's going to be a lot of growth in the near future. And a lot depends too upon what the citizens of the city want at that time.
I agree with what Jerry said. I believe that the environment alone will keep us or help us to maintain the rural atmosphere that we are. I also think that if our mayor and our council continue to live within our means, within the amount of money that we have to spend, that too will keep us in the rural type atmosphere. My philosophy has always been that we preserve the past. So I'm a firm believer in the reason that we all came to Shady Shores.
Thank you very much. In case I didn't say this, the answers are supposed to be limited to 1 minute. And last time we did this, everything worked out pretty well. So we have some fast answers from our candidates. Next question. What is your opinion on charging the respective HOAs for lighting for street lights? John?
I believe this is where the city's from now, is that the electric rates are paid by the city for all street lights. And I don't believe that HOA should have to pay for their own specific lighting. That should be borne by the city as it is throughout the rest of the city.
Okay.
I think the issue with streetlights has to do with safety, and I would look into the safety and the reasoning behind the streetlights first. I don't want to penalize a group of individuals because they live in an area that may have high traffic and may benefit from a light. So I don't see why we would have to designate one certain group versus another if it's all down to safety and protecting, children and people in the roadway.
Okay. Holly?
Well, I think all citizens should be treated equal. If we pay for lights in one area of town, I think we should pay for lights in any other area of town.
Okay. Dave?
No, I do not believe that the HOA should have to pay for their own street lights. I believe that, like Polly said, everyone is equal. If the town realizes that it is a safety issue and that we need to install lights, then from a safety perspective, we should do so. But
Yeah.
Well, I think we should pay the bill on everybody's lights except maybe private roads. And as far as the maintenance of the light itself goes, if a development comes in with very fancy lights that don't have too long a life and they need a lot of maintenance, I think the HOA should pay for the maintenance of the lights. And as far as electricity goes, I don't see why the city shouldn't pay for it like other cities do.
Okay. Sure.
folks, strictly because their community may be somewhat a little bit different than the other community. We serve as a mayor and as aldermen basically to establish resolutions and ordinances to protect your health, safety, and welfare is what you'll hear a lot tonight. And I truly believe that illumination, regardless of where it is certainly a safety issue, and the city should cover that.
Next question is a combination of about 4 questions that were submitted. So I'm going to read it. What do you see as the biggest challenge in Shady Shores in the next 10 years? Dan?
I think the biggest challenge is, we're obviously going into a new age here where we've got a new mayor, and the biggest challenge I think is going to be keeping our tax base low like it is now. We have mandates coming in like new street signs that are being required by the state of Texas that we have to do in a very short period of time. It's going to be expensive, and I think there'll be all kinds of new mandates coming in by the government to protect those citizens, which will cost the city, and so it's going to be a challenge to keep the taxes low, to keep the expenses low.
Gary?
10 years, basically, we must maintain a practical tax base. We must have integrity, but at the same time, it must serve the town with its public services, its fire, and its police, and so forth. Drainage issues, I believe, will be an ongoing challenge for the next mayor and the next council, and I think it's just always going to be a challenge to be proactive on those particular issues where we do see in some of these terrible rainstorms, the drainage issue. And road maintenance, top of the list. I don't want you guys to be driving on roads out here that are weak strictly because the mayor or council has put that as a low priority.
Okay.
I agree, drainage and the road maintenance. Our greatest challenge will be to keep our tax base and provide the services that we need, and also a big challenge will be to remain debt-free.
In the next 10 years, I also agree with the drainage issues. I'm a certified floodplain manager, and I personally, in our area, I see that as a big concern to myself professionally as well as personally. And I am looking in the future to look for possible monies through grants or federal funding to help take care of alleviate some of this, because I agree with Jerry, if the roads are unsafe because the roads are buckling or there's drainage issues, it's only going to worsen. I mean, look at the infrastructure throughout the United States and how many bridges and highways need to be repaired. These were issues 10 years ago, and we're now having to address them with less funds. So let's think proactively, how can we find the money now to take care of the problem instead of us having to shoulder the burden ourselves?
I believe the biggest asset that Shady Shores has are its roadways, and I think that is the #1 priority. And I think what Shady Shores needs, and I think what I can bring to the community, is a long-term comprehensive plan, a financial plan that shows what will need to be done, what we think will need to be done with the roadways, and then also with lights, traffic signs, drainage, and what have you. And I think that's going to be our highest priority. I believe is going to be the roadway system, with the others not too far behind.
Holly?
Well, I agree with all the candidates. I think our biggest challenge is to provide the services that everybody wants and needs and stay within our budget. And our tax dollar has actually dropped in the last year, 2 years. We went from 34 cents per hundred evaluation to 31 cents. And so rather than raising taxes like so many places have been, we've been able to lower the taxes. So if we continue those things like we've been doing and provide the services that we are providing for all that, hopefully that will be the remedy for the challenges.
Okay, we'll start with the candidates this year on the council. Would you actively pursue negotiating a contract with the Corps of Engineers?
Negotiating a contract with the Corps. Dealing with the which we deal with the Corps on a weekly basis. And it's all a compromise. I know there's been some, dealing with federal agencies altogether, they usually get a bad rap. But it really does come down to compromise. They're people too, and they do have common sense, and it's just being able to work together. It is possible. I've seen it.
I could agree on a partnership, but it would have to be that, it would have to be a partnership and not something we're led by the Corps of Engineers. So what is their comprehensive plan going forward? What is it we hope to address and attain, but what are their goals? And if those can be met and we can work together, I would support that, but I would tread cautiously there.
Holly?
Well, we actually have an agreement with the Corps that was signed in '08, and it was to work under the management of the Elm Park chapter of Master Naturalists. And we're presently expanding and working on the park that is north of the boat ramp. And I think that as long as we can be in an agreement with the Corps, we don't really have to sign any kind of contracts with them. They're very open to our, whatever we want to do now. And that's not been the way it's been in the past. But they're easier to work with today. They have not the money nor the personnel to do the things that they want to do. And they're giving it to us, and I think it's a great thing. You know, they're letting us do things we've never been able to do before.
This next question is for the mayoral candidates. Would you please comment on your opinion of the division of labor between the mayor and the city secretary? Betty?
I assume what that means is what Wendy will do and what the mayor will do. So my comment on that would be that Wendy certainly would be here to facilitate the administration part of it all. The mayor then working with the council, the attorneys, the engineers, the contractors, to be able to get the job done.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, I guess the day-to-day business, writing checks and whatever, Wendy does fine. She has very good knowledge of city government. I'm sure she's, her goal in life is to become a city manager, and I think she's well on the way to doing that. The mayor, I think, needs to, all the agenda items needs to study them thoroughly and prepare a package for all the aldermen that contains all the information they need to make correct decisions or educated decisions. So.
In a type A general law town like the town of Shady Shores is, basically the mayor is a legislator. He foresees that the aldermen basically are presented items which they then legislate by virtue of resolutions and ordinances, as I said. The mayor at that point then executes them. The city secretary will assist the mayor in areas basically as far as keeping the minutes and functioning as a right-hand girl Friday or man Friday, whatever you may want to call that. But the reality of it all is the mayor's responsibility is the town and making sure that the town is run correctly under the guidelines of a type A general law town.
Wasn't quite finished. I'd like to add one thing too. I think the mayor's is her position, her